Hello and welcome. Today we're going to dive into the final chapter of what might be the most famous speech ever given, the Sermon on the Mount. We're going to unpack some of its most quoted and, maybe most misunderstood teachings from Matthew chapter 7.
Judge not. The golden rule. Come on, we've all heard these, right? We throw these phrases around all the time. But are we actually using them the way they were intended? So let's get past the little sound bites and dig into what's really being said.
So the first major theme here is all about our relationships. The sermon basically lays out this whole new standard for how we're supposed to interact with the people around us. And it starts with a command that is very, very famous.
And here it is. This is probably one of the most popular verses in the entire Bible. You'll hear it quoted by people who might not even know where it comes from. But what's really fascinating is how often its meaning gets, twisted.
Okay, so let's clear this up right off the bat. This is not a command to just blindly accept everything and anything. The source material is really clear. This is a direct warning against a specific type of judgment, the kind that's hypocritical, way too harsh, or just plain unfair. It's all about the attitude and the spirit behind our assessments of others.
And this slide gives us a perfect breakdown of what that unjust judgment actually looks like in real life. It's that tendency to just assume the worst about someone, or to become a fault finder, only ever pointing out what's wrong. It's about judging someone's entire life based on one bad moment, or trying to guess the hidden motives in their heart, which, let's be honest, we can never really know.
And this is where Jesus uses this incredible and frankly kind of funny image to make his point. I mean, can you picture it? Someone with a giant 2x4 sticking out of their own eye, trying to perform delicate surgery on a tiny little speck in someone else's. It's just ridiculous. The point isn't that we can never help someone else out. It's that we have to deal with our own massive issues first before we have any business trying to fix theirs.
Now check this out. Just when you think it's all about not judging, Jesus throws in this really interesting counterpoint. He basically says that after you've dealt with your own issues, you still need to use wisdom and discernment. Some truths, some really precious insights, are like pearls, and it's just not helpful to offer them to people who are only going to mock them and treat them with contempt. It's this beautiful balance of love and wisdom.
So this whole section on how we treat each other wraps up with the golden rule. But look closely at the huge difference here. A common ethic at the time, stated beautifully by Rabbi Hillel, was negative. It was about restraint. Don't do bad things. But Jesus completely flips it on its head. He makes it a positive, active command. Proactively go out and do good for others. This is a game changer. It's not just about avoiding harm. It's about actively seeking to do good. That's a much, much higher standard.
All right, so from there, the sermon makes a pivot. After talking about the horizontal, how we treat each other, it turns to the vertical, our connection with God Himself, and specifically, how we talk to Him through prayer.
And Jesus presents prayer in this amazing way with this kind of increasing intensity. It starts simply enough, ask. Just make your request. But it doesn't end there. It moves on to seeking, which is more active, right? You're searching. And finally, it gets to knocking, this persistent, earnest plea, even when it feels like you're facing a closed door. It's a call to be passionate and relentless in our prayers.
And to really drive this point home, he uses this powerful common sense comparison. He says, look, even flawed human parents know how to give good gifts to their kids. So if that's true, he asks, how much more is a perfect, loving God going to be generous with His children? The whole argument is built on the idea that God's very nature is to give, and we should approach Him with that confidence.
So now we get to the end of the sermon, the big conclusion. And it's not just a nice summary of ideas. Nope. It's a direct, powerful call to make a series of really fundamental choices about the kind of life you're going to build.
First, there's a warning. Be careful. There are false guides out there who look the part. They're wearing sheep's clothing, but they're actually dangerous. So the big question is, how do you tell the difference? Well, Jesus gives a super practical test. Look at their fruits, the actual tangible results, and the character that their life and their teaching produce. And that warning leads us right into the first of three really stark choices laid out side by side. On one hand, you've got the wide gate and the broad road. It's easy, it's popular, lots of people are on it. On the other hand, you have the narrow gate and the difficult path. But as you can see, the most important difference between them is where they end up.
The second choice uses this great metaphor of two trees. And the point is simple, but it's so profound. What we do on the outside, our fruit, is always a result of who we are on the inside, the tree itself. A person's true nature will eventually be revealed by what their life produces.
Now this is a really sobering warning. Jesus makes it crystal clear that just saying the right words, even religious-sounding words, isn't enough. I mean, the people in this example even claim to have done miracles in his name. But the absolutely terrifying response they get is, "I never knew you." It shows that the ultimate issue isn't what you say or even what you do, but whether you have a real, genuine relationship.
And the whole sermon ends with this final, powerful metaphor. You've got two builders. Both of them hear the exact same words, the same teachings. The only difference is what they do next. The wise builder hears the words and puts them into practice, building a solid foundation on rock. And here's the thing. On a sunny day, both houses look exactly the same. It's only when the storm hits that you find out what your foundation was really made of.
And that leaves us with the sermon's ultimate challenge. It's a question that echoes all the way down to us today. It's not just about what we hear or what we say we believe, it's about what we actually do. So when the inevitable storms of life come crashing in, what is your foundation really built on?